impact the lanes or at least protect the lanes, and so Skarner doesn't get an easy gank path off.
And the reason why I like cheese picks or these very, off-meta, unorthodox picks like the Skarner,
that's because it's you.
Is because, yeah, A, it's me, and
yeah.
B, if you're playing into it in your SFM, you probably don't know exactly what it does, right? You don't know that when you're on one of these pads, if I get stunned, he gets extra movement speed. He gets extra attack speed. Like, if I trade on one of these, does it work out for me? I don't really know. Like, it's very difficult to trade up against Karin because this is like how important is every part of his kit. And Karin knows this one inside out because he's been practicing. So you have that inherent advantage over your opponent because they simply don't have the knowledge. Right now, they're just bringing up the wick here, and they're just like, what does Skarner actually do?
That's true. And here's the fun thing about this, and well, it's fun for me, not a lot of fun for a lot of people, because even though Skarner, you're like, oh, I want to learn so much about it, I want it to succeed, because if a game of Skarner succeeds, you might see a bit more in the later games, later on in the split, maybe even the playoffs. But I'm gonna smash down the unfun train and say that right now Snake have such a good composition to deal with it, right? The Gragas is one pick that I was kind of hitting on a lot in the pick and ban. Gragas does very well for Snake very early on in the game because, of course, he's going to be heading down towards the bottom lane. He started top side. He's going to end bottom side. Even if he doesn't get a gank off now, in the next 2 minutes, that pressure is going to be there. Choo-Choo and Cat will never have the ability to deal with that. And so Skarner is going to have to try and speed up his, I would guess, early pathing. Because he wants to sit in his jungle for about 5 levels. He's not going to have that opportunity to do so because SOFM is going to be immediately setting the pace. And then, of course, mid-game, late game, Skarner, engage, Cass comes through, either pushes Skarner away or the rest of his team, so the follow-up just isn't there. So I love the Gragas pick specifically into Skarner.
And while we're on the party pooping train, Hootie is going to be great into that as well. There's so many knockbacks, displacement, extra movement speed. You've got the target you're trying to lock down into Kalista. She's going to hop away from you. Like, Flandre's there protecting as well. And maybe you drag in one of the carries, and then you've also got a Shen. And you didn't want that buy one, get one free, because Shen's going to taunt your carries at that point. So it's difficult in that sense, but there's always the X factor when you bring out a pick like this.
That's true. And a lot of it comes down to, let's say, free gold. You know why it's free gold? Because suddenly people have to invest in more QSSs. And so for Snake, especially for Kalista, now you have to think about it, well, how am I going to fit this QSS into my build? If I'm ahead in this game, if we have this early game lead, very easy decision to do that. If we're behind, they need my damage, not so easy. So for Snake, getting that early game lead is going to be all the more important.
Now, Skarner, one of the very few champions in the game that has a suppress in his kit, which is an ultimate impale. And you can see, actually, no one has brought Cleanse because Cleanse doesn't work against suppressors. You have to get QSS.
I can assure you at least one of these players, and so you have done that, going Cleanse against Skarner, because a lot of times you don't see it a lot. So you're like, well, I'm not really exposed to suppression that much, unless if you're playing up against Warwick. I'm going to try this out. And then you lose a kill really early on in the game. Like, well, I've learned this lesson. I will carry this lesson to my grave. Yep,
you learn the hard way against Skarner. And you know he'll be building Righteous Glory as well. Not only because the item is really good right now, but because Skarner really, really needs it. So he can get into melee range to use his ultimate.
That's actually one of the biggest reasons Skarner would be a great pick, is because Righteous Glory, the changes to it, every tank is building it. The Maokai is building it. The Cho'Gaths are building it. 100% Karin's going to be building it. If he doesn't, it's only because Lies would have it, and you'd be like, well, I don't want to stack these actives, so you know what, I'm just going to try and go for an efficient path.
Oh, Cat, he's just got an OQ, and he's put the trap as well. Takes the lantern back, a flash out, and the 2v2 kill over to Choo-Choo. Hootie's not going to get away as well without a good beating.
That's a 2v2 kill.
I know.
That is insane. Especially since we're talking about Snake needing this early game to work well on the bottom side of the map. And they just got bopped.
Hello, Hootie?
Hootie.
You can't do that. You just drag Cat into it. But SOFM's here as well. Cat has to hit the Grey Help, but they actually want to turn this kill onto Hootie. Teleport out from Flandre as well. Everybody's coming down. A Torn lands onto Choo-Choo. And Cat, they've actually left him alive for dessert. It looks like Choo-Choo wants to put the damage down onto Hootie. But after all of that, it's a double to Snake.
You know what? Chess, my friends, chess. Hootie knew all along that he had a card in his back pocket. So he just brings in the Shen card. The TP comes in, and you just don't expect it. You know, it's like, why is the support holding the wave that man is stupid. I'm not going to allow that to happen. And then they pay the iron price. So that's very sad for Dan Gaming to get a 2v2 kill and then immediately just lose both their lives. Good recovery, though, from Snake.
Yep, good recovery, but also just paying on that bloodlust from Dan Gaming. You know, they will always go for that 100% of the time, and that's just a good read on your opponent.
That is. It's fun that they can make the call that quickly, recognizing that SOFM was going to be on that side of the map, recognizing that they weren't going to have the damage, or at least it was going to take a very long time to take Tom Kench's life with just the 2v2. And so you bring in that Shen as well on a proper ward, and suddenly suddenly you turn what was a very bad misfortune to an opportunity to kill.
Who was the winner of the Street Fighter tournament at EVO? What was his name? Do you remember?
Tokido.
Yeah. You remember what he said in the interview, Raz?
What did he say?
That all of his preparation for this match was essentially downloading his opponent and figuring out how he plays for the reads.
That's true.
And that feels like what Snake have done in this game.
Yeah, definitely felt like a read. But to be honest, you could read most opponents in a 2v1 and saying, you know what? If they just see a support holding the wave, they're like, that's greedy. Snake, greedy team. That immediately I'm going to assume greed. And so they push in and they lose their lives. So now, of course, Dan are going to recognize that. Even in this game, maybe in the next game, and they're going to recognize, okay, Hoodie's holding the wave. I'm not immediately going to assume that he's not playing smart. Suddenly, that's instant respect that Dan has to put into the new support.
Karen, I can definitely call that a waddle. I think that Skarner waddles.
Yeah. Get a few waddlers out there in the League of Legends, and you just love them.
That's true.
Nunu's one of them.
He's a waddler.
Yeah. You just see instant rise in play just because of the walk animation for a lot of these champions. Or at least for me. Some people might not like waddlers.
I can see that. Tam Kench is another one for sure.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Karen, man, Skarner is such an old champion who's changed a bunch. Like, he's had more added to his kit over the years, but rarely does he ever come back into the meta. Rarely has he played.
Yeah, it's mostly because at least his play style competitively has always remained the same. That if you are winning with Skarner, his impact feels low. If you're losing with Skarner, his impact and now your loss would be like, wow, he did nothing this game. There's like a massive meme about, let's say, Cacao Skarner in Worlds, because it felt like he did nothing. Because if your lanes lose, suddenly Skarner's like, well, he's not going to do any damage because he's in, like, yeah, he's a melee champion, but it feels like he has a negative range. He needs to be right on top of you to get most of his damage up. But if he's ahead, of course, he can do so much. You're probably not going to be building QSS because you don't want to lose more damage just because you're going up against Skarner. So, yeah, Skarner's one of those champions. Win more if you're ahead. Lose a lot if you're behind.
And even if he is ahead, it still feels like he doesn't do much. He's going to give it a shot in the top lane. He's got his ultimate. Flandre, good shadow dash away. And Karen, oh, he's coming for him. Forces the flash out from Flandre.
Good respect, because if Karen throws out his slow, immediately turns into an auto attack stun, you're like, I should have flash. So the man gives him respect.
Skarner does have a lot of CC in this kit, though. As you said, Fracture gives him the slow. He has a stun as well, and he's got a suppress.
Yeah.
So for single targets, he can be very annoying in these ganks.
Yeah, that's one of the changes I really liked about Skarner over the years, that they just wanted to give him more reliable CC, be it slows, stuns. It's great. Big fan of it.
Yeah, there was a time when his kit was like really weird, and it was like mini stuns. So it was like 0.25 second stuns. And it was based off his Q, so you just like stun, and then you just run away. Stun, and you run away. And it was just like, this is bad.
One thing I love about League of Legends compared to most games, patch changes come like every other week, of course.
Yeah.
And so you just get changes where it's like 1 week, like when the Skarner changes went through, it's like, wow, he is a broken champion. He does way too much. You just had a mini meta of which Skarner is like, you ban him, you pick him, and you're just like, I hate my life because Skarner exists. And of course, they nerfed him to a reasonable point, so you're like, okay, well now we're in a meta or a stage where Skarner means nothing. So at the very least, it feels like he's going to have impact this game because he's able to pressure topside for quite a bit, keep up in CS, and already has his CC Cinderhulk item. So he's in a pretty good spot. Now it's going to be up to Snake to play around that, especially with Karn always having flash up, because his picks doesn't have to just be OP. can be SOFM. SOFM wants to be the one who starts the fight, and he's gone towards the AP jungle item. He's rather squishy. So sure, he does a lot of damage, and if he starts off the fight, whoever Gragas goes on to is dead, unless if it's Cho'Gath. But yeah, if Gragas finds himself mispositioning, he's a dead Cho, or at least a dead Skarner.
Very true. And for now, this the game has definitely slowed down after we had all of that action in the bottom lane. And just from how I've been seeing these trades as well, like OQ and Hoodie have certainly woken up in that lane. They've just been absolutely smashing Tutu and Cat following the early game.
It's hard to deal with the Kalista Thresh, it really is. Even if you get the early gold, early kills, even if you have the exhaust, you just don't want to deal with it. Even if you have the Tahm Kench, you're like, well, you just engaged on the Tahm Kench.
Oh, who's going deep, but he knows SOFM is just off to the side. He comes in, flash, body slam, pops the ultimate. They really want Cat. They know they have to jump on it because he's going to save Choo-Choo. Shockwave, and that doesn't even get the assist. It looks like, oh, he just got the assist as OQ secures the kill.
Yeah, it was hard to get the kill because the terrain made it so no one got popped into the team, but they end up getting the job done anyways. Ooh, Karin.
Yeah, he's locked underneath that tower. Good response from Flandry. Might actually pick this 1 versus 2 kill up. At the very least, gets the flash.
At the least, Dan also get the turret. So it should be first turret gold for the team, and it's all going to be on Cho'Gath. But Snake are in a great position to trade up. So it should be, of course, the tower and the dragon, unless if Dan has anything to say about it.
It's Infernal as well, so this is really good for Snake. That being said, you know, full gold going over to Lies on a Cho'Gath.
Yep.
Like, we've seen what Cho'Gath can do with, like, an early double kill, and that's essentially a double kill what he just got there, 650 gold.
Yeah, even just in the last game, sure, Amazing J lost. Aimee lost the game. Oh, speaking of losing, team fight's happening.
Yeah, Cat wants to come in here. Lies, hits the teleport, Zatai stuns up. Shen, ultimate, right on top of Zatai. He'll flash the wall, gets Flandre out of there as well. So resources burned from Snake, but they still got the dragon.
Yeah, there's no strong follow-up to get the kill onto Orianna. The silence has basically made it so Zatai had to just wait it out, but still survives it through.
This is a spicy teleport.
Yeah, there we go. Proper decision, especially since the trap came down, so you don't want to be stunned up as you TP in through. Top of 4 people. 5 people. It's a lot of people.
Quick tip, if you are trying to punch someone who is teleporting on a tower, they will always be right behind the tower closest to their spawn.
Yep.
So just put a trap there, or put any of your CC, or prepare to you know, put a CC ability there, and you'll get them 100% of the time.
Yeah, that patch that went through to make it so it was 100% of the time always going to be behind the tower made a lot of people happy. Or unless if you're a top laner, then you're just sad because whenever you TP into a lane to defend it, you're going to die, or at least take a lot of damage.
Yep. Not fun. But there is counterplay now to it. Teleport was always a very strong summoner spell over the years. You just have a much lower cooldown.
That's true.
Also had a much lower channel time.
TP will always have its strength, especially competitive, knowing that being in the opposite side of the map instantaneously will always have its value. You can increase the channel time for it, but it's still going to be strong. Especially in this meta where it's just like you can have that reactive playstyle. You can still lose lanes, but as long as you have double TP, you can always have the answer to repel a dive.
Yep.
Dan might have to repel this dive. It's not even going to be a dive.
No, it's going to be taking the tower. However, Snake are going to leave Herald to her fate today.
Heard it.
Oh, just, wow, going to get another charge off. Not a lot of damage though. So we're all good. How are we doing in terms of gold? So the gold is actually pretty even. It's just where the gold has been allocated to both these two teams. You know, a lot of it is going to be on Lies for Dan. But pretty much every other lane is very equal in terms of farm. Karin is obviously farming up a Storm because he's Skarner. Very much what you'd refer to as a control jungler. But SO hasn't actually gotten involved on the map, whereas Karin, he's gone for these ganks, but hasn't really panned out for him.
Yeah, and so the way I would think about it in terms of the gold value is Snake went towards investments. Infernal one is an easy one just because you get the immediate value of course, the damage increase, but once you actually get items, of course, that value increases quite a bit, especially once maybe you put in Elder Dragon. If the team has a lead going into that portion of the game, they get Elder Dragon, well, then that's going to do a lot more damage on top of it. So just Snake being more active on the map and getting these monster objectives, especially just getting that mid lane turret, is going to be a good trade for them. But it means that the vision control that we've always hit Snake for is going to be a little easier for them to attain.
And as weird as it is to say, like, I think that Snake are performing maybe even better without Crystal, and they tried to ham-fist him into the lineup so many times. But now that we just have OQ and Hoodie in the bottom lane, like I'm seeing just more concise play from Snake, whereas Dan, they try to make a play in the mid lane, but Snake disengage.
That's true. And the thing about Crystal, you gotta appreciate the fact that he was willing to stand up and take the support position when they didn't have a good support. Though with that being said, Shen may need a bit of support, moral support, actual aid. Get out of there, Shen. He's good. And so when, of course, when Crystal was in the support position, he stood to the role, was very strong, especially on the Thresh. And then went back to AD carry, and they already have OQ. So the fact that now they could swap between the two, it still has a lot of value to Snake. So having him around, of course, they're going to be very thankful about it.
All right, Snake are just going to even up these towers now. It was just the trade across map. The dragon is in around 2 minutes, so obviously you've got a bit of setup time for that one. And for now, yeah, we're just pretty much chilling.
And you'd have to think that this actually works very well for Dan, that these trades are coming across. It increases the size of the map just based off of there's no real safety with the towers being down. It should be a lot larger of a chase. Means that for Snake, if they want to get to an objective, say Dragon or Baron once it comes up in 3 minutes, that it's going to be a big risk for them. It's going to be a longer way to get back to safety. And so for Dan, to have this kind of pick-off composition should be great for them. And they have good setup with the Caitlyn as well. So they're setting themselves up well, especially with Snake needing more time with the composition that they have to really scale up around Orianna, around OQ's Kalista play. So it's going to be interesting to see how Snake do in terms of slowing the game down and getting the items necessary. He's close to Runan's Hurricane at the very least. So once he does get that for himself, he should be fine. I wonder if that's actually going to turn into Phantom Dancer. We've seen a few Phantom Dancers on that. They would just lose out on a bit of wave clear.
But Raz, don't you think that Dan Gaming also have a good amount of scaling since they have a Caitlyn?
Yes. So the scaling is there. It's just the protection that comes with it, right? And how they can play these team fights out. Oh, speaking of team fights, I'm always on edge. I can never trust a team of when they want to start a fight, especially Dan Gaming.
Yep.
But you're right about the scaling in that both teams do have options, and it's how you want to be able to start it out. Front to back, I have more faith in Snake because they can throw more bodies at you. Dan have, at the very least, a Cho'Gath. And the Cho'Gath, if he's stacking up quite well, then that is a major frontliner. So I wonder how the fortunes are going to be for this team.
Well, it looks like Liza's already pretty tanky, getting his way towards 30,000 health at 90 minutes. Yeah, okay. Dan Gaming are just going to take this dragon. Pretty much no contest. We'll be pushing the mid lane, but there's no tower there. So Snake actually just decided to get the advantage in pushing lanes, but it does give them pushing lanes around that Baron pit. So they can place down that ward vision in that jungle now.
I previously mentioned Snake do not want to look for fights at this stage of the game. They just don't have the ability to do so. They need OQ a little stronger. They need Zatai to have, at the very least, completed his Leandries, and then maybe in towards Aludin's Echo. So once he can get a lot of AP underneath him, then the ball that he does have, constantly looking to zone out Goon, constantly looking to zone out Choo-Choo, will have more value.
So they got a lot of damage down onto that tower. They didn't manage to finish off the inner tower. It was maybe down to half. There was a response in the bottom lane from Mize, but ultimately it was just tower damage. That being said, Baron is spawning right about now, and we know that Dan Gaming quite literally catnip to them.
That's true.
So they will go towards it.
That's why you have to look towards Snake's back timings from this point forward, because even though they've been keeping rigorous vision around the pit, for them, for this instance, to be able to push up top and back, that works well for them. But the fact that they didn't stagger it all too well gave Cat an opening to start to put down vision, gave the rest of the team an opening to be able to wrangle control away from Snake. And the reason why it's so important for Dan is because, of course, the meme of them getting to 20 minutes, them forcing down the Baron, it's always going to be a thing or an option for Dan. Snake have recognized this, and so they just need to be a lot more disciplined in how often they are on the map as a team.
At the very least, just having vision over it, having people near there, especially SOFM. He can't just be like bot side taking Raptors. He just has to be cognizant that at any point in time, Dan could just randomly be on the Baron. So, gotta keep it in mind.
And just to get the Righteous Glory update for you guys, it's a weather update. That's a double Righteous Glory for the team. So they are going to chase you down. They have a good fight. They're not going to stop. And I just hope that they don't stack it. That's all I ask.
That's all we want. This is a very exciting trade in bottom lane. I don't know why we're looking at it, but we could be looking at anything else. Prefer to see a wood get taken out in river.
Pulse, I thought that was your kind of thing. I thought you loved
Not at
the
this
top
stage,
lane
Raz.
trade.
Yeah, I love like the first 5 minutes when it's down to the micro interactions of like if you screw up and you're below like 80% and you're pushed up in lane, you're probably in kill range. But when you're like there,
come on,
no.
But like if you lose a trade, then you have to TP back in, and oh, you don't have TP anymore, Pulse. Just the impact of that. It's gonna take about a minute, maybe 2 minutes for that to happen, but it could happen, Pulse.
Raz, Lies has like 5 billion HP. He's never gonna get shoved out of lane.
It's gonna go down to 0 at some point.
He's got his passive, which gives him more HP, and Flounder is like, yes, I am Shen. I don't take damage. There's nothing in this.
Oh, he's got himself.
Hootie. This could be massive. Cat's gonna have to burn his flash. 1 for 2 double. Maybe Cat has to sacrifice his life now. He's going to wait till the last second to use his Grey Helm.
Oh
but
my
the rest
God.
of the team's coming in from the back line. And Karen has abducted Zatai, but there's no damage with him as well. Lies turns up, has the feast. He wants to use it on somebody.
No way.
And we'll get it down onto Zatai. And a turnaround coming in now from Dan Gaming. Goon eliminates OQ. And Hootie on the run with Flounder and SOFM. They're running for the hills. Double kill Alpha Gung.
Absolute chaos, and it's not gonna stop here unless, there we go, the barrel's gonna do it. That is insane. That looks so good for Snake. They get the initial pick onto Choo Choo. They say, you know what? He wasn't even our target to start. We knew Cat was going to eat him up. Let's get Cat. But they left one person behind. One person didn't get that train ride, Pulse, and it was Zatai. So yeah, we talked about the 20-minute Barons. This time around, it comes pretty free.
In the words of Jesse Pinkman, they can't keep getting away with it. Why are they on Baron again? Dan Gaming, 23 minutes. And for some reason, every single play turns into a Baron play. Choo Choo's at the back of the pit. Flash torn. Flounder takes out the AD carry. Now he's kind of trapped, but Gung also needs to stop tanking the Baron. Lies, get in there. SOFM and Flounder may have stopped this play.
Oh, keep it healthy. Oh, no. Okay, all right. Baron's going to go to max HP, too.
Okay, zoning them off in this choke point. Gung turning it around, pops the ultimate. And Cat does ride the wave back to safety.
But Flounder is the only one who is sub 30% HP. Snake are going to turn onto it. This ride is not going to end.
Flounder does have teleport as well. You can see it instantly teleporting in. Lies. Hits the rupture. Everyone at the back of the pit taking maximum amount of damage here, Raz.
That's a Cho'Gath on Lies. Stop that Cho'Gath.
And the taunt. The CC chain is huge. Going to be dragging Lies in as well. The death sentence is living up to its name as Lies hits the dust. And Baron will go down to Snake.
Very well done from Snake. Time and time again, Snake have been losing Barons. In fact, they're getting very close to being Dignitas memed. But finally, they recognize that's a lot. That's Smite on Karin. That's Cho'Gath ulti. Get the fight, secure it. This is the fight that we talked about earlier on, that Snake were looking good to clear it up. Zatai gets caught out, but thankfully Snake, the A team comes to save him, but they're right on top of tanks. All of these tanks, they're doing so much damage. The Cho'Gath is going to eat the Orianna, and you're just in a position of sorrow, where Snake thought they were doing well, probably weren't able to focus on the fight because there are so many HP bars on top of each other, and of course get completely AoE'd out.
Finally Dan go for a Baron play, and Snake to stop them and take the Baron. As much as I like Dan, it feels good.
Yeah. You thought they were going to get away with it, Pulse.
I thought they were.
Flounder wasn't going to let it happen.
Nope, we went all the way until Breaking Bad Season 5. And that was pretty good. Did you get that reference, Raz?
I got that one.
Yes, okay. At least you had that one pop culture reference.
It takes some time to guess and check. Finally get it.
Oh, and Snake are going to get another Infernal as well. Dan, not feeling great.
Yeah, the investment's starting to pay off for Snake. First Infernal Dragon, second Infernal Dragon. You got to hope that the next one, thank goodness, it's not another Infernal Dragon.
But you know that Dan are probably just going to end up getting that Ocean Dragon. This is like, well, this kind of blows. Yeah. Getting all the lame dragons.
Hey, you know, if it stacks up to a point, now they're going to get 2 Ocean Dragons. They're basically from California. A lot of ocean.
A lot of ocean. But, yeah, Snake, double Infernal. 16% AP and AD. Pretty good. It's just a slow siege, pushing in bottom lane. We've got Flounder in top lane, so just going to play it slow on the Z from Snake. And this is what we need to see from them.
Yeah, and immediately one of the biggest points for Snake that I would criticize them on are lane assignments once they have Baron. Sometimes you see some wacky nonsense of SOFM on a tank going split pushing mid lane where the actual top lane carry is, you know, suddenly with the team. You're like, what is this? Why am I seeing this? This time around it's proper. This time around you see the Shen topside keeping Lies preoccupied. Lies doesn't have his TP. Flandre has his Shen ulti. It can be an immediate 5v4 situation if Snake chooses that. It's a righteous glory pop.
It is. That was probably a fat finger.
Just wanted to feel fast for a little bit.
Flandre, 7th game of his life right now. 3-0-3 on Shen. That means you can allow yourself to indulge in the Titanic Hydra.
Ah, yes.
And it feels fantastic.
Does feel good. I remember back in the days, let's say Season 2, when you'd see the Darien Trinity Force Shen bullying these top laners around. You're like, wow, that's a battle Shen if I've ever seen it.
Yep. Well, hook onto Lies and he's probably dead. You can remove the probably.
He's a dead man. And you know what? He's on Snake's plate. So yeah, this is a good it's a good rotation from Snake. It's only okay.
Ooh, nice knockback.
Very nice. And here's the thing, Snake can keep doing this. They moved away from the bottom lane because the traps were getting a little bit too hefty, and they can go from wave to wave to wave, and so suddenly change towards mid lane. You leave the traps behind in the top lane, and suddenly Choo-Choo has to do that work all over again. Great movements.
Yeah, great movements. This has been very much a late game ramp from Snake. Like, we would see them in this situation before, and they just have no idea how to close. And you'll get that early game advantage, they'll make some good plays around mid game, but we'd never see this out of them. I don't know what changed in the behind the scenes, in the background, but something definitely has.
7 weeks of gameplay. You get 7 weeks, a lot of time. And if you're not learning much, if it's the same Snake we're seeing, then we have some problems. They were very disappointed in themselves at the very beginning, before the season even started. They were disappointed in themselves with how they played in the Demacia Cup. They were disappointed in how the team started in the LPL split. They were disappointed in how the teams went through the cross-conference play. There's a lot of disappointment.
Yeah, there was.
But, of course, with disappointment follows lessons, and those lessons they're learning quite frequently. We talked about how they were able to utilize that Baron. You can see points in which Snake, their early game strengths are finally turning into mid-game, late-game results. Their IG set's another example of that. Sure, people will say that their second game, you know, you don't deserve that win. But if you play that well, yes, you deserve that win. And in game 1, it's pretty decent as well, so you know what? Snake are playing up.
If you kill the Nexus, you deserve the win.
There we go.
It's as simple as that.
Doesn't have to be clean, ladies and gentlemen. You'd want it to be, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay, well, we're collapsing on Shen, who is not even going to have to use his Shadow Dash or his Flash.
You know what? Don't collapse. Don't do that. I understood the idea. I thought process.
I didn't.
It was there. You can't say it wasn't there.
It was there, and then it was gone. He's literally a ninja.
That's true. Never try and catch a ninja.
SOFM will tank that ultimate to the face. He's absolutely fine. And honestly, Snake just playing it passively, and they don't need to do anything. They've just literally passively absorbed all of the pressure that Dan exerted.
Yep.
And Dan were like trying so hard, but Snake, just play it slow, take the bot tower. Play it slow, take the top tower.
And this is when you start to feel really bad as a Skarner player, you know? Or the team with just a Skarner scuttling around the map. Because the QSS has just come through on OQ. He took a little bit of time before he actually purchased it. And so now, what are your options if you're Karin? Pick up the Flandre. Not going to be a good idea. Pick up SOFM. Well, he has a few tank items now. Sure, he had the AP jungle item, but you know what? Now he actually is a tank. Pick up Zatai. Sure, right? But yeah, like at that point, Shen ulti is going to come down on them. Essentially, who are you going to actually use your ulti on? And feel happy about it. You can use ulti on someone else, but you know what? You probably get reported at the end of the game. So
I think Karin's only used his ultimate once this game that I've seen.
That's true. But it's one of those moments where I just cannot blame Skarner players. You can blame them for picking Skarner, but you can't blame them for how that game went on. Because once you start losing the early points of the game, you lose that one team fight, you just get closed out of options. He's a very linear champion.
Yep. You win harder. You lose harder.
Yeah. It's the only real blame I would say is in his early game looking to dive top lane. It's very hard to dive a Shen, very hard to pressure it through. I understood he was put in that position just because of how bottom lane was starting to work out. But mid lane seemed like you would have more options, especially once Goon got past that level 6 point. Teams have had, dive the Orianna strategies time and time again. That would be a good time to do so just because of how long that range is and how well Goon has been playing in the past week. Past 2 weeks even. He's having a good game now. It's not showing. He's not. Of course, he's not going to get MVP. It's not going to happen. You don't get that benefit.
Who's the MVP, Raz?
Ooh. If I had to make the choice, I don't get the. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna give it to Flandre.
We've caught SOFM, but there's a Shen on top of him, and he just took the Lantern out of their light. Gonna jump right on top of that backline. Stalling time for OQ and Zatai, but walks right into the shockwave. Cat's gonna save Choo Choo. He jukes backward. Karin gets dragged back into the team once again. Good stun out with the Scatter of the Weekend. No one is dead yet, but finally Karin falls as the first casualty of the fight, and that will turn Snake and their attention towards Baron.
Yep, Karin's down. There's no smite on the field, and they only have to worry about Cho'Gath with 0 flash. So that's not really threatening, especially when Snake can just look for a fight here.
Gung hovering over the wall, and Dan just stayed in a little bit too long without getting the contest off. They're going to keep on fighting though. The front line from Snake is very low. Gung throwing balls in there, tosses out Scatterweed, doesn't tag onto Zatai. Rupture again does not connect. That'll be Dan disengaging. Baron once more over to Snake.
A lot of skill shots being thrown. Oh, yeah, you know what? They're going to get something on the map. They're going to try their hardest to at least get something. It's going to be an Ocean Dragon. But you're right. Snake have Baron. So it feels like this is going to be it was desperation mode for Dan a little bit while back. But has to be now since Snake are in a position to look for that one final fight. It's a Bloodthirster being purchased on OQ.
Oh man, yeah, OQ is gigantic, so is Zatai. Look towards the carriers of Choo Choo and Gong, and you're just saying probably Choo Choo just needs more time to get to a full third item. Gung as well. And while he's 2-0-1, Skarnahan died up until that last team fight. Like, it doesn't really matter right now. So they have double Infernal at the end of the day. Yeah, this is really punishing right now. And the one thing that you would say that Dan had at least an option to do was to burst out OQ. You still have Syndra at the end of the day. You still have the silence from Cho'Gath. You can pick that one person off, or at least have that option in doing so. They can't even do that onto OQ because that lifesteal is too dang big. He has 2 lifesteal items, so if you don't burst them off in the first go with the Runon's Hurricane, he gets so much HP back. So yeah, that option have just closed. You know what? The door is closed. It's gone. It's actually vanished. Raz, why would you pick up the Bloodthirster here instead of Death Dance for OQ?
I would say Bloodthirster, of course, it gives you the
shield.
So the bonus shield is actually really big for you. Death Dance is always nice. I love Death Dance. I'm a Death Dance connoisseur.
Me too.
But you know what? A lot of bursts, specifically Syndra. He's probably only looking at Syndra and saying, I don't want to get bursted by Syndra.
But what does Death Dance do, Raz?
Doesn't give you a shield.
No, but it reduces burst.
But doesn't give you a shield.
30%.
I understand that.
30%.
Shield.
Just feels good.
It does feel good.
But also based off abilities as well, so if you're auto-attack based, then I can understand Bloodthirster. And Snake just playing slow right now. Don't really need to do anything different. Doing the old 1.5, 2 and 1 split push.
It's good. It's one of those moments where it feels like you can do no wrong as Snake. SOFM is literally just running around the map at sub 30% HP because he can. The tank meta gets to a point where if you just put people on opposite side of the lanes, you 1-3-1 them, 1-4. It's like, what can you do to stop them? We already saw Dan try to collapse onto the Shen, but if you collapse onto a tank, even if they're going to die, it's going to take a long time for them to die, and Snake are already in a position to look for inhibs. So right now, Dan, the only option they have right now is to force a fight or to wait long enough for a Baron to come up.
And it really just sucks for Karin, because it's like, once you're pushed into your base, you gain just like less effectiveness as Skarner because there are no crystal spires in your base.
No, that's good. That's
Like
good.
if you get ahead, you go to the enemy spires. If you're behind, there isn't anything for you. So, yep, nothing really for him to do if a team fight opens up in the base.
Yeah, and one of the criticisms of Skarner as well is that you're so linear, of course, with the spires. There being so few spires on the map that you would think that you would just fight around the spires, contest the spires. You don't oftentimes see Skarner fight an enemy team with on top of a spire for Skarner.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. Even though you say, well, that's an amazing buff. It looks great. Even to hit your earlier comparison, it feels like that Trundle W. Contaminate, it's called?
It used to be called Contaminate. Now it's Frozen Domain.
Oh, there we go. I still have that traditional Trundle skin, so I'm going to call it Contaminate. God damn it.
They actually moved the name over to Twitch. His EU is Contaminate, not Expunge. Which I completely disagree with because you're not contaminating, you're expunging. So
that's fair.
Dislike it.
That's his E, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, if it was his W, if he was throwing his W out, it's called Contaminate, I would understand
like,
that.
Yes.
There we go.
That's like Poison Vial or something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they probably just made a mistake, wanted to move it to the spell over. It was like, oh, well, that's on the wrong spell. So that's my benefit of the doubt right there.
Yep. But the point is,
yeah,
you don't get to choose where the Crystal Spire is.
Exactly. You don't get that option. Press an ability, Trundle does it. If you're Skarner, you're just hoping that the fight happens. Or at least hoping that the setup that you've had in the early portion of the game makes it so it benefits you.
And if you're the enemy team and you're just like, well, I guess we just don't fight here, you know?
Yep.
I guess it would make more sense if like you could, kind of like a Lowy passive, where it like spawns tentacles if you move next to a wall. If it spawned like a spire when you move next to a wall.
Oh my god.
Because then you actually have like some control over the ability.
I don't even know. Suddenly we have an RNG element in there. This is why you're not on the balance team. I wouldn't like this. I mean, people would love it. If you're a Skarner player, if you're like a Captain Flowers, you're going to love that. You're going to be like, oh, yes, give me that.
That would be amazing.
I just don't want to deal with a Skarner who's just going to be RNG spamming spires.
There's no RNG about it because you have to move towards the wall.
There's a lot of walls.
Yeah. Where's the RNG? You get control.
Oh, you're saying that you can choose to put down? Because if it's like Ilawi's tentacle, that's RNG.
No, it isn't.
Oh, we're going to have a fight. We're going to have... This is... A fight's about to ensue right now in chat.
Hello, who's the Ilawi main?
I'm taking off my jacket.
If you walk next to a wall, it spawns where you move up to on the wall.
You just don't know exactly where it's going to spawn, Pulse.
Because you can set them up.
All right, I'm sad that these are not wireless headsets, so we can't go outside.
There's a range in which you can't spawn them anymore, and then they'll spawn on like the outside radius, so you can space them out.
A range, but now we're getting into a debate about what's exactly RNG.
Random number generator, where you do not have control. But there's
Controlled
also
RNG.
what I've learned from speedruns: RNG manipulation.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we have it. I love speedruns, but only for one time of the year.
2 times of the year.
2 times? Oh, 2 times.
2 times.
I don't watch it too often. Then.
I believe that is their case.
Well then.
What are these two teams doing? We're contesting Elder Dragon. All right, well, I'm sure if Dan realized that the Baron is spawning in 5 seconds, we'll probably just move over to the Baron.
Yeah, but it's getting burnt down far too quickly. It's going to be all on Lies to see if he can start a fight.
Oh, he's going to flash into the front line.
Woo!
Okay, we got Karin. He managed to grab Zatai, but we couldn't nuke him down fast enough. And now all of the shields are coming out. Cat saying, I've got him, guys. But he's going to pop the ultimate. Choo-choo with the kill. 4 versus 5 now. Karin, he gets the heal
Oh
out.
my
Big
God.
taunt in from Flandre. But the backline, look at Oki. He needs to take down Lies before he can reach anybody else. And Cat will save him as well. Choo-choo jumping forwards. Very aggressive play from Gung. And Snake get out alive with 4 of their members remaining. Only 1 kill, but Dan win the fight.
Yeah, Goong's going to be sad that he didn't have a sphere for that stun, but either way, they're going to get Elder Dragon. We ruled this team out, and they're just about to take the game back.
They're taking Elder, and they can make a play now towards that Baron. Lies does have his TP as well.
It's always going to be about that Baron buff. Now, Goong doesn't have much mana to his name, so if they go straight for it, TP's coming through.
Maybe he should move towards the top lane because that is a massive minion wave about to crash.
Thankfully, they have 2 Ocean Dragons. The only time in which it's going to be beneficial, and it's going to be beneficial for Goong. He's going to be able to get the mana back.
For right now, SOFM, he's right behind that trap wall. Doesn't have the flash, so he's going to have to jump over the back of it.
He's going to have to steal it. Dan are going to have to rush it because of the wave in the top side of the map.
Look towards Lies. He has the ultimate, uses the feast, chomps down. That's the Baron and the Elder Dragon to Dan Gaming.
Pulse, they're back into the game.
I actually can't believe my eyes and I can't believe my tips. Because the one time I don't go for Dan, they pull this.
You should still keep faith, all right? 41 minutes of the game. All this means is that the game goes on a little bit longer. Of course, it doesn't mean we don't know who it's going to go for at this point. But Dan are going to be able to stabilize the major waves that were hitting top side of the map, bottom side of the map, because Snake had good control of side lanes. But losing that fight was so impactful because suddenly, yeah, it doesn't really matter. That just means that Dan's going to be able to take 2 monster objectives and pick up massive minion waves. So ultimately, just because Dan won the fight, they get so much gold back for it.
I mean, we just went from an 80% win game for Snake to a 50-50, essentially.
It's a 4K gold lead. That means absolutely nothing 41 minutes into the game.
Lies has 5,000 HP. Once he pops Gargoyles, he has over 10,000 health.
Still, it has to be noted that Snake lost that fight solely because of the flank play coming through from Karin, was able to pick up Zatai, and they just CC stunned him for so long Zatai wasn't able to get off his ulti. So the shockwave wasn't there, and you'd have to assume if the shockwave's there this time around, it would work out better. But with Banshee's Veil being on Goong, it's going to be harder to actually make that play happen until, let's say, a Gragas throws out his Q to pop it.
Tower down. Hook from Hoodie. It's only on Cat, though. Zatai just took a bunch of damage. Double shields on him. Karin still has his ultimate as well. You've got to look at this Skarner. Doesn't have the flash, but he's very fast. 2 towers plus an inhib. We'll see if Dan look to wash, rinse, and repeat here.
You're not going to let her live it down.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. I appreciate it, at the very least.
What are you rinsing? Nothing. But Dan they are absolutely ringing Snake.
Yeah. Dan's going to take a little bit of time because they don't have the wave bot just yet, but because of how it was slow pushing, that's going to be a massive wave. 3 cannon creeps. Wait a second.
They have an Armada 4.
Wait a second. You can't do that.
This army is out of control. How did 4 cannon minions all stack up? Good save by Cat once again. And look at this Armada that they have in the bottom lane. Choo-Choo doesn't need to do anything.
There's another wave coming up. You just have to hope and pray that's not another cannon general coming over. Oh my god.
These cannon minions and the Casacoots are destroying the towers, destroying the inhib.
That was really well done from Cat to be able to swallow up Choo-Choo.
This is absurd. And Snake can't do anything. There's such a massive frontline here. They can't touch those cannon minions.
Yeah, that's another cannon minion, or at least another wave coming through as well. This Baron buff is getting its worth.
Snake are gonna have to do something. They engage on top of Lies. Cat on the front line as well, but look at Choo-Choo. He's hammering down onto the Nexus towers. Karin just being an annoying Skarner right now, looking towards these carries. His flash is up as well. His Impale is ready to go. Flandre and SUFM need to pull the trigger. The game is on the line. Zatai on the back, but he's separated from the team. Ace in the hole puts him back, and Lies takes away Hoodie from the map. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but support for top laner is good for Snake.
Nexus is exposed.
1 tower down, 2 towers down. Choo-Choo chipping away at the Nexus. Flandre jumps after, no flash on him. Zatai backs away, hits the cleanse. Cat as well, turning it around. We've got to get the down jump to the Nexus. Dan, 4 versus 5. They're losing their top laner.
Zatai has
good dodge from Gung, keeps going in a straight line, and Flandre can't get on top of him. Cat goes down. Zatai looking for the shockwave, lands onto Karin. Flandre jumps onto the backline once again, but the instant cleanse out from Choo-Choo. He falls to OQ, and a chase down now. Snake turning it around. Gung will be dropped, but not before he takes SUFM with him.
The top lane wave. This is actually turning around.
Oh my god, 5 for 2 here, Raz. And Flandre hammering down onto this top lane inhibitor turret. But look at the minions in the base. Someone needs to address this.
Yeah, there's no follow-up from the rest of Snake, so you have to believe that it's not game yet. Lies is going to be able to come back up, so that's an exposed wave. Yeah, you're right. So please kill the wave. Please. You don't want to lose to minions. All right. Whew, okay.
Whoa.
You know what? An inhibitor down in favor of Snake, but that's an exposed Nexus. That's 2 inhibitors down in favor of Dan Gaming. All right, you gotta, this is when you start doing TP lockdown. So Lies has TP. He has, I believe that's a ward within the base. That's just something that's blue inside of that base. So right now, focus is gonna be on Lies to see if he could TP on top of whatever that is. Actually, that could just be a trap. I think that's a trap. So that's not going to happen. Cannot TP on traps.
Oh my god, this game has just gotten absolutely out of control. It's a 50-50, and you know it's going to come down to these monster objectives once again now, Res.
Yep. You know what? Flanders is going to be upset that he went towards the Darien build. He already has the Trinity Force, so he's doing damage. But at this point in time, you actually want to be a tank, because with how long this game has gone on, he's going to take a lot of damage from Choo, who has just finished up his full item build.
Oh,
So full, in fact, he doesn't have any boots. That's a Caitlyn walking around barefoot.
He actually has gone for the Darien build, and you feel so powerful as Shen once you have Triforce and Titanic Hydra. Like, if you first item those, you would just, like, one-shot anybody on the map. But at this point in the game, I think he just thought this was, like, an assured win.
Yes. He has to swap it out. Like, legitimately, there are no other options, because if he has the gold to do it, then he should swap it out for a much tankier item. Let's say even a Warmogs, because he does have Gargoyle Stoneplate. So if he gets a Warmogs, he can just continue to fight, play these slower fights out, and they kind of have to commit to these slower fights because of Kalista needing to play around Ren. That being said, slow, whatever it is, they're fighting now.
Looking for the engage, misses the cast. Choo dodges out the hook as well, and Snake unable to find purchase on Dan as the rest of them resume their assault and will come back together in the mid lane.
It's going to pay off at some point, you have to believe. SOFM's going for it again.
You're going to jump on Choo once more. Doesn't have the ultimate this time. He's staying on top of him. Cat ready to go. Lies unable to catch him as he takes the lantern out. Even without goggles, he's incredibly tanky. Cat dragged in once again, and the Catfish does not get to use his fixed skim. However, Hootie almost instantly taken out by Lies. Doesn't quite finish him off, and he gets to live for another day. Flandre leading the charge, and even with that Trinity Force, he is very tanky himself.
Really well done. So the flash that is off of Cat pays off about 30 seconds afterwards, where Cat just gets picked off, not even able to use his shield. So now you're in a position, Snake huddling around this Baron pit.
Raz TP in the base.
Oh my god, you're right.
Lies looking for the back door. They're trying to disrupt the recalls, and it's only Hootie here to defend as well. Zatai at critical HP as he looks to recall, but he needs to go into the top lane. Lies on top of the Nexus, but he's a Cho'Gath. He does negative damage. Look at the rest of the team. They're engaging in the fight in the meanwhile, and we need to look at the fight because Lies has just taken too long to take this one down. Hootie is just stalling him, and Zatai as well comes up. He will be able to stop this onslaught from Cho'Gath, but he just has so much HP. Now the cavalry has arrived. Flandre is able to CC him up and finally take it out. But no, the minions as well will finish off the game, Raz. And that's game one to Dan Gaming.
I cannot comprehend that game. Dan should not have won this one, but determination and a lot of help from minions. You talk about the 6th man on the map. That was about an entire army. That was not fair. But Dan played it well, and they finally net the win. They don't look too happy about it because the job is not done just yet. That's just game one. No, they're happy. They're definitely happy. Just kidding. You know, the job is done. Go home.